for self-care with some mindfulness meditation. I'm going to be talking a little bit more than normal in the beginning, so I wanted to get started right away here today. So welcome again, and let's start out with a grounding practice. I usually begin with a grounding practice to help calm the central nervous system, bring us here into this moment versus wherever we've been or maybe wherever we need to be after. So if you are aware of the different grounding practices that we've been doing, feel free to do one of them. I'm going to do the one where you put your right hand under your left armpit and then have your left arm rest at the side, and the other hand, your left hand, will rest on the deltoid, the spot between your right shoulder and elbow. And let's just take some breaths here. Close the eyes if we're comfortable with that, or a soft gaze. Noticing the breath in the body, the arms across the chest. Utilizing this time in the grounding practice to sink into the here and now. A couple more breaths. Okay. And you can keep your eyes closed if you are comfortable with that, or a soft gaze. We're going to be doing the body scan today. It's a concentration and flexibility awareness meditation. And I wanted to read a little bit about the body and the body scan before we started. I'm going to be reading from Jon Kabat-Zin's The Full Catastrophe of Living. So, for any of you that may have this book, I'm reading on page 75, Being in Your Body, the Body Scan Meditation. It is amazing to me that we can be simultaneously completely preoccupied with the appearance of our own body and at the same time completely out of touch with it as well. This goes for our relationship to other people's bodies too. As a society, we seem to be overwhelmingly preoccupied with appearances in general and appearance of bodies in particular. Bodies are used in advertisements to sell everything from cars to smartphones to beer. Why? Because the advertisers are capitalizing on people's strong identification with particular body images at particular stages of life. Images of attractive men and seductive women generate in viewers thoughts about looking a certain way themselves, or feeling special or better or younger or happy. Much of our preoccupation with how we look comes from a deep-seated insecurity about our bodies. Many of us grow up feeling awkward and unattractive and disliking our body for one reason or another. Usually it was because there was a particular ideal look that someone else had and we didn't, perhaps when we were adolescents, when such preoccupations are at a feverish peak. So if we didn't look a certain way, we were obsessed with what we could do to look that way or to compensate for not looking that way, or we were overwhelmed with the impossibility of being right. For many people, at one particular point in their lives, the appearance of their body was elevated to supreme social importance, leading to feeling somehow inadequate and troubled by how they thought they looked. At the other extreme were those who did look, quote-unquote, the right way. As a result, they were frequently infatuated with themselves or overwhelmed in one way or another by the attention they got. Sooner or later, people get over such preoccupations, but the root insecurity can remain about one's body. Many adults feel deep down that their body is either too fat or too short or too tall or too ugly, as if there was some perfect way that it should be. Sad to say, we may never feel completely comfortable with the way our body is, never completely at home in it. This may give rise to problems with touching and with being touched, and therefore with intimacy. As we get older, this malaise may be compounded by the awareness that our body is aging. That is it's losing its youthful appearance and qualities, As deep feelings of this kind that you might have about your body can't change until the way you actually experience your body changes. These feelings stem from a restricted way of looking at your body in the first place. Our thoughts about our body can limit drastically the range of feelings we allow ourselves to experience. I'm going to read that again. Our thoughts about our body can limit drastically the range of feelings we allow ourselves to experience. I'll come back to a different reading I'm going to do that'll touch on that a little bit more. When we put energy into actually experiencing our body and we refuse to get caught up in the overlay of judgmental thinking about it, our whole view of it and ourselves can change dramatically. To begin with, what it does is remarkable. It can walk, it can talk, it can sit up and reach for things. It can judge distance, digest food, and know things through touch. Usually we take these abilities completely for granted and don't appreciate what our bodies can actually do until we are injured or sick. Then we realize how nice it was when we could do the things that we can't do anymore. So before we convince ourselves that our bodies are to this or to that, shouldn't we get more in touch with how wonderful it is to have a body in the first place, no matter what it looks or feels like? And I would like to add, or what it can do. The way we do this is to tune into our body and be mindful of it without judging it. When you tune in, you are reclaiming your life in that very moment and your body as well, making yourself more real and more alive. You are living your life in real time as it unfolds moment by moment in awareness. You're present for it and with it and in it. Your experience is embodied. Bodies are subject to inevitable breakdown, but they do seem to break down sooner and to heal less frequently and less completely if they are not cared for and listened to in some basic ways. For this reason, taking care of your body is of great importance both in the prevention of disease and in the work of healing from illness, disease, and injury. Step one in caring for your body, whether you are sick or injured or healthy, is to practice being in it, to actually inhabit it with full awareness. Tuning into your breathing and to the sensations that you can feel in your body is one very practical way to work at being in your body. It helps to stay in close touch with it and then act on what you learn as you listen to its messages. The body scan is a very powerful form of rebodying, since you are regularly checking in with, listening to, and befriending and embracing every region of your body systematically. You can't help developing greater familiarity with and confidence in your body when you do this. And for the most part, your body can't help but soften in response without your trying to relax or soften anything at all. Okay, that's enough from Jon about the body and the body scan. So some main points for me are continually being in the head and not being in the body. The body has a wealth of information if we listen to it and we can pay attention to it. Some of us can't tune into that because we maybe have self-loathing or hatred or maybe even too much love for certain parts of our body that we can't utilize the messages that are coming from the body in the proper way. I don't know if any of you have heard of the Iowa study related to playing cards, and it touches on how emotions are both psychological and physiological in the body, and you get more bang for your buck if you're able to bring awareness and attention to the emotions in the body versus the mind. So you're better able to perceive maybe anger's arising, and you can maybe choose to lessen the anger, or maybe the anger needs to bloom in a certain situation. But the body knows if you're able to listen to it. So in this Iowa study, they had 4 decks of cards, and 2 were blue and 2 were red. And the participants were told to draw a card from each of the decks, and the point was to get to a specific score. And some of the decks were quote unquote good and some were bad. Now, After drawing about 50 cards, the participants were able to get a hunch that the blue decks were better than the red decks. And then about drawing about 80 cards, they were able to definitely explain and say that yes, the blue deck was better. What's interesting to me is that they had attached like a polygraph test to detect sweat in the palms, which is an indicator of stress. So when the person went to hover or draw over the red deck, the palms started sweating by the 10th card. So that was 40%, 40 cards before they felt the hunch that the blue deck was better than red, and 70 cards before they could actually verbalize and explain that the blue deck was better than the red. So the body knows and is telling us before we can verbalize it. So I find that interesting. That study was in the book Blink, which was published in 2005 by Malcolm Gladwell, journalist and staff writer for The New Yorker. It was even published before that in a book in 1994, Descartes' Error, Emotion, Reason, and the Human Brain by neurologist Antonio Damasio. Okay, so enough about me and the value of the body and the body scan. Let's actually do a body scan. So, if you're comfortable, you can be standing, seated, or lying, whatever works for you, depending on your environment. You want to feel comfortable and safe. So, if you're comfortable with closing your eyes, please feel free to do so. If not, you can have a soft gaze, a few feet in front of you. If seated, it may be best to have your feet under your knees, evenly weighted in the buttocks, shoulders over the hips, maybe a slight tuck of the chin to help the neck with the weight of the head. Again, these are all suggestions based on your environment and your body. Do what's best for you. You want to feel awake and alert, and also comfortable and at ease. We're going to start by bringing our awareness into the body breathing. Maybe noticing the breath on the nostrils or the chest or belly expanding and contracting. Moving down the torso, down the left leg, to the left foot. And while we're doing the body scan, we're going to focus on a particular region of the body. And I'll ask you to keep in mind any parts that may be added to that region or may have been taken away. And keep those in mind while we're doing the body scan. Now bring the focus and awareness to that body region and noticing what's happening in that body region. So we're starting with the left foot. And sometimes the feet may be hard to bring awareness to. I've mentioned this before, it took me a long time when I was doing the body scan to actually sense my feet. Maybe wiggle the toes if that helps bring awareness into the foot. And let that go. We're checking for there's temperature differences, maybe sensations like an ache, pain. Maybe we're wearing socks and we can feel the structure of the sock against the foot. Maybe checking in with the toes. the heel, the instep. Moving up to the ankle, and the lower leg. Noticing the calf, the shin. Emotions, stories may arise during the body scan. Noticing where your mind got pulled off to. And coming back to the body part. If you're not necessarily aware of the body part, you can focus on the breath or just pick a body part until I identify which one we should be on. Moving up to the knee, maybe noticing differences from the front of the knee, the sensations behind the knee. The left quadricep, upper thigh, moving around the whole leg, the top, the side, the back, the other side. Moving into the hip. What sensations are in the hip? Can we sense the ball and socket? Moving across the pelvic region to the right side, down the right leg, to the right foot. What sensations exist in the right foot? Maybe there are no sensations. And that's okay, that's what's being experienced at this moment. Not judging yourself with an experience you should be feeling more. Why can't you feel less if it's a painful area of the body? Seeing if we can be loving and kind, non-judgmental, and be with the experience as it is without laying anything on top of it. Moving up to the ankle and the right lower leg. Calf muscle. Maybe it's easier to be aware of certain parts of the lower leg. Just being a little scientist and investigating. Not wondering why we can't feel this area versus that area. Accepting it as it is. Moving up to the knee. The right knee, complex joint of the body. It does so much for us day in and day out. Moving up to the right upper leg. Maybe sensing the clothing on the upper leg. Maybe noticing temperature differences in the thigh, closer to the knee versus the hip. Maybe the circumference change as the thigh moves up towards the hip. And the right hip. Again, another joint if we're walking, standing, doing a lot for us day in and day out that we may not even think about, depending on our body. Now going across the pelvic region, in front of the body, between the two hips. Organs of elimination and reproduction. What sensations are we feeling at this moment in the pelvic region? Circling around to the back side of the body, the lower back. Some of us may have issues with our lower back. Seeing if we can observe the lower back without judging or having criticism. Being curious, exploring what's happening in this region. Are you noticing with the body scan when you're focusing on the area that it changes? It's not constantly necessarily one sensation. Moving up the back, the mid-back, the upper back. What sensations are there? Maybe noticing the ribs. Moving in the back side of the body as we're inhaling and exhaling. Can we sense into the spine, the vertebrae, as it moves up the back side of the body? Can we sense into the natural curvature of the spine and the vertebrae? Letting go of the back side of the body and coming back around to the front, the belly, the abdomen. Maybe the sensation again of clothing or breathing. Or maybe lunch digesting or wanting lunch. What's happening in the abdomen? Moving up to the chest. What sensations are happening in the chest? Again, maybe breathing is part of the awareness. Maybe the heart beating. Lungs expanding and contracting. And moving into the shoulders. How do the shoulders feel? Maybe you notice their position in space. Maybe they're hunched forward a little bit. Maybe one's higher or lower than the other. And not judging the body if possible, just noticing the different sensations. And moving down the arms, the elbows, the front of the elbow, the back of the elbow. Maybe the difference in skin, one side softer than the other. Down to the hands and the fingers. Are they relaxed and resting, or are they tight in a fist, or something in between? Moving up the arms to the neck, sensing into the neck. Maybe there's hair on the neck or lack of hair in certain places. There's different sensations with the air, or hair, clothing. Moving into the jaw, the chin. Are the teeth clenched, or is the jaw loose? Where's the tongue in the mouth? Moving up to the nostrils, the nose. Maybe we have a sensation of scent where we're located. Or maybe noticing the air moving in and out. The eyes, the eyelids, the eyelashes. Top of the head, forehead, the back of the head, the ears, now bringing awareness into the whole body from head to toe. Breathing into the body as a whole. I'd like to read a poem. Your History is Here Inside Your Body by Martha Elliott. Your history is here inside your body. Your body is your storehouse of feelings, learnings, thoughts, and experiences. Only wanting to be invited to reveal your treasures to yourself. Help yourself. As you let the learning emerge and take shape, you can appreciate the wisdom of the body. Each cell alive with spirit, emotion, and intelligence. Ready to help you at any moment. Always with you and for you. Now letting go of the awareness of the whole body and bringing the awareness to the breath, focusing specifically on the breath as it enters and leaves the body. And then when ready, if you had the eyes closed, slowly opening them, maybe wiggling your fingers and your ankles and toes. Maybe stretching the hands above you, and bringing them down. So that was a quick body scan today. Thank you for joining, and may your mind be at peace. May your words come from a place of love, and may your heart be filled with joy. Thank you for joining me today. Have a wonderful rest of your day.